Hey everybody, this is John Troutman with Cork.com. I'm standing here at Hearth Restaurant where we're tasting through Austrian wines today. And here I have Erin Grace, who's the brand manager with Winebow Imports and Distributors. She's going to tell us a little bit about Austrian wines. Erin, tell me a little bit about the 2009 vintage in Austria. I know, on wine blogs and wine magazines, everybody's kind of talking about 2009 Bordeaux. What do we know about Austrian wines in 2009?
Well, Austria has the very organized and very fortuitous example of the vintage of nines. Going back until 1959, every vintage ending in 9 has been a remarkable vintage for one thing or the other in Austria. 59, 69, 79, 89, 99, and now again 2009. So we are looking at wines with very classical structure. We're looking at wines that are very exemplary of what Austria has to offer. Mother Nature wasn't totally cooperative with us with the volume. And we had some issues in Austria with hail and with other, sort of natural winemaking phenomenon like ripening difficulties and things like that. But in the end, the cycle of the year and the ripening period yielded wines of very good quality and very classical and typical Austrian quality.
Awesome. Sounds like we have a good vintage to look forward to. I know today we have a lot of the 2008s on hand. What can you say about this vintage that we're going to be tasting through and that you'll find at a lot of the store shelves? What was 2008 like, and what type of wines can we expect?
Well, typically 2008, you're going to see wines that have a little bit more linear structure, following two very, very ripe vintages like 2006 and 2007. You're going to see wines from 2008 that have a little bit more of that sort of straight, mineralic, high acid kind of content that people tend to associate with Austria, but also that's very typical. So, but as you say, in any vintage, a great winemaker can make great wine. So it really is, of course, producer-driven, but 2008 is a very typical vintage.
Awesome.
Again.
And looking around the room a little bit, as we hop around table to table, you're going to see a whole lot of Gruner Veltliner, and with good reason. The country has really made a name for itself in the last few years. Talk about it, working for an importer. What is it like, Gruner Veltliner? The popularity that it's kind of emerged with, and how it's portrayed in the market, and what it's like to try and sell it.
Well, Gruner Veltliner is an interesting grape because it really it marries two of the things that people really want, I think, in wine. They want finesse, but they also want power. And there are certain grapes that definitely give you power. They give you, rich flavors and high alcohol and lots of concentration. And then you have grapes that give you freshness and the crispness that you're looking for on a hot day on the patio or whatever. But Gruner Veltliner can give you both, and it has that range. And you can, even in the same bottle, in the same glass, you can get that burst of freshness at the finish, but you can also get a nice length and a development of flavor in the glass that really makes it a unique kind of, gives it a unique kind of quality. And interestingly enough, Gruner Veltliner, while genetically part of the Traminer branch, which is a relatively obscure part of the wine tree, only came to prominence in Austria after World War II. It was a player, and it was certainly something that was grown in the region for many, many years. But after World War II, after the destruction that happened to the wine industry there as a result of the wars, the growers there decided that this was something they'd hitch their star on, and now it represents over a third of all of Austria's wine planting, and it's really their signature grape.
Awesome. So, here today we have a whole lot of Austrian whites on hand, mostly Gruner Veltliner, but we also have some Riesling. I think there's some Müller-Thurgau in the room, possibly. Some of those wine geeks, we really like our whites from Austria. Let's talk about the reds. What is the country doing with red grapes? Some certain grapes that you see emerging that the country can really kind of stand out with and become well known for.
Well, a lot of people, because in Austria they speak the German language make the association that Austria is somehow right next to Germany and next to the wine growing region of Germany, but it's actually not. It's actually quite a bit further south, and if you bust out your atlas and have a look, you'll see that the wine growing region of Austria, which is on the far eastern end of Austria, is at the same latitude or at the same sort of geographic positioning as Burgundy and Loire. And it's illustrative because you can see that these wines and the grapes that are grown in these regions have some of the same qualities as those regions too. And the similar sort of structure and similar sort of aromatic and concentration component in the wines. Austria's main red varieties, which have been embraced by this young group of winemakers that we work with, have worked with the Zweigelt, which is a very sort of cherry fruit, fresh, almost spicy, gamay, dolcetto-ish kind of grape, and the Blaufränkisch, which has a more Rhone-like component, a little bit more savory fruit, a little bit more meaty kind of character, but also still that spiciness, and the Saint Laurent, which is a descendant of Pinot Noir. The Pinot Noir grape was brought to Austria 400 years ago by the French monks, and it bred with local varieties and produced the Saint Laurent grape. And so you have that elegant, fresh, very refined style of wine in the Saint Laurent, and so these young winemakers are really pushing the edge of the envelope that they can with these grapes, and it's a really great frontier for people to explore.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Erin. There you have it. Zweigelt and Blaufränkisch. Go find some.